Welcome back to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. Well, it must be nice to be a liberal in America because you can go on fake news media and say whatever you want, and the journalists there, so-called, will protect everything that you say. Well, this didn't happen to the son of one Hollywood power couple one time, and they are really swearing to blacklist CNN, to never watch them again, or to support them in any way. And this is really interesting because it shows that the gloves may be coming off. We might get some sort of balance and equality in the media, and it will make for a much better watching experience, but we're not going to hold our breath. Before we get into this story, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. Join us. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Now, you might be aware of two of the most famous actors in Hollywood, and that's Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones. And they are reportedly fuming after their son, Dylan Douglas, was left embarrassed at a round table, all courtesy of Scott Jennings. Now, the Republican strategist took the talking points from Dylan Douglas and promptly disposed of them in the trash bin because it shows that these Democrat talking points are, well, let's say facetious or false. Depending on how you want to put it, they are completely full of baloney. And Douglas claimed that Republicans were solely to blame for the so-called government shutdown. The coward couple considered the segment after he was exposed to be unfair and exploitative. And that's because Jennings pointed out that, well, Douglas's argument was, well, ridiculous. The Republicans actually tried to open the government by putting forward continuing resolutions, and one of the provisions in there was used as a poison pill by Democrats, and the fake news media lied to the public about it. Of course, I'm talking about food stamps. The Republicans, they offered to fund SNAP 15 times, and 15 times Democrats said no. Now, why would they do that? Interesting point. Do they really care about poor people, or do they care about political points? Because really what they wanted to fund was health care for illegal aliens, because blue states do some maneuverable tricks to make sure that the Medicare is used to fund treatment for illegal aliens in hospitals. But essentially, Democrats don't know any of this stuff. They just watch fake news media. Well, CNN actually allowed Jennings to take down Dylan Douglas. It was glorious. It was a sight to behold. Let's watch that now.
You cannot put on the American people that Democrats were the one that were hurting people, making this plight.
Who was casting the votes against opening the government? Democrats or Republicans?
Who was
casting the votes?
Scott, who was wanting to cut SNAP benefits?
Nobody.
And who was playing up SNAP benefits after two courts ruled that it was unallowed?
Republicans voted to fund SNAP 15 times. Democrats voted to defund it 15 times.
You talk about the Affordable Health Care Act, okay?
It's terrible.
Landmark legislation is not perfect. We understand that Democrats, Republicans, independents, 70% of Americans, not Democrats, not just independents, 70% of Americans believe that they should increase those subsidies past the dead mark of December, the COVID era subsidy benefits. So it's a huge, huge thing that Democrats, Republicans, 70% agree with. And look, when it comes to the government shutdown, I was of the persuasion that to go for it, I didn't really get it. Democrats wanted a fight. They got a fight. Chuck Schumer, back in last year, didn't fight. He got a lot of flack for it, particularly in his home state of New York. So they wanted a fight, but they found a fight that was worth fighting with talking about the Affordable Health Care Act. People were with them. Democrats were leading in the polls. We won big on Tuesday.
That's what it was for, right? It was for the election, right?
Well, I think we should have kept going. What I don't understand, and which I would love others to help me out understand, I don't understand why we caved so soon when the American people, it seemed to be on our side.
Because the election ended. You just said it. It was for the election.
Listen,
the election ended. Then you caved.
Now, Douglas and Zeta-Jones argues that he was set up. CNN wanted to humiliate Dylan Douglas, and Zeta-Jones vented to friends that CNN essentially rigged it because the network crossed a line. They let the exchange turn into an on-air humiliation. And so the couple, according to insiders, said they are going to, quote, blacklist the whole network, unquote, moving forward. And one source framed the meltdown bluntly. This Daily Mail report says, quote, Dylan's never been spoken to like that in his entire life. He's always been the golden boy, adored, protected. CNN gave him a taste of the real world, and his parents hated every second of it, unquote. And that's according to Rob Studer. So, welcome to the real world, Dylan Douglas, where liberal ideas that are rooted in fantasy get completely dismantled when they go up against facts that are rooted in political reality. It's kind of like your Achilles heel. We actually demand that policies work in the real world. We care about results. We don't care about your intentions. We don't care about your feelings, because what is that leading to? Utter disaster. In every Democrat-run city in the United States, disaster. In every blue state, disaster. Under every Democrat presidency, disaster. We are tired of it. We are sick of this charade. We don't want to go along with it anymore. So all of these radical ideologues that are running in all of these races across the country, they don't represent the interests of the American people, who actually demand results, who want safe communities, who don't want tens of millions of foreigners in our country using our resources, coming from impoverished countries, not really contributing to our society, not assimilating or blending in, and in some cases being violent criminals. I know this common sense is very hard for you to understand, but don't go on CNN and get in a debate with somebody who understands political reality unless you get prepared to have your butt handed to you, and then don't go whining about it later. Okay? So, essentially, we don't care if you blacklist CNN. I've been blacklisting them for a long time, except when I have to report the news. Darn it. But before we leave, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. We appreciate your support, and we thank you for watching.